So I was just saying I should have pushed record because Bill just told us a great story.
Here's our intro music.
Oh, wait, there's intro music? Scott's going to play intro music? Professional.
Yeah, we got to have it.
Okay, we can't do any more than that because we're going to get flagged by YouTube.
Yeah, we're going to get sued. Oh, listen to that. That's this is, like I said, this is really professional. This is what happens when you give microphones to old guys and middle-aged guys and they talk about stuff. But
yeah,
I don't think it's my turn to do an intro. I think it's your turn, Bill. And you got a microphone, so you're professional now.
Yeah, right. I'm professional now. So welcome to two old guys and one middle-aged guy talk about guitars and gear and stuff. Woohoo!
Hey, but I want to talk about something else. Can we talk about something else?
Okay, go.
Stuff.
We were going to record later, but we had to record earlier because Bill wants to watch Stranger Things.
Exactly.
Hey, Scott, have you been watching it?
Episode.
No, I don't really watch TV.
Okay, Bill, you need to catch up so we can talk about that. I'm dating this thing right now because we're talking about Stranger Things Season 4, and I've only got one more episode to go, so Bill, you need to catch up. But here's my other question for you guys. Have either of you guys watched Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney+?
I have not. I'm waiting.
Gosh, go do it.
No, I'm waiting for... there's only like 3 episodes dropped, right?
Yeah, but you should just go watch it anyway. I was so worried about it, but... You know, after like Book of Boba Fett was kind of lame.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. I kind of liked it. It was okay.
It was okay when it became The Mandalorian, but
it's like how did this become Mandalorian 1.5? You know,
I watched all of the Mandalorian series, but
you should go watch Obi-Wan. It's Mandalorian quality. It's much better than Book of Boba Fett. That's all I'm going to say. My final thing I have to throw out there is this is my favorite George Lucas property. This has nothing to do with gear. That's why I want to talk about it. But that is Willow. Is like one of my favorite movies of my childhood. I think it's George Lucas's most underrated property.
I have no idea what that is.
Mad Mardigan.
Warwick Davis and Val Kilmer. Oh, yes. So, Bill, you need to go watch it. Great fantasy movie that should have came out like a couple of years earlier and it would have been huge, but it was kind of after the fantasy bump of the 80s. But they're they're continuing the story on Disney Plus, and they just dropped a trailer for it, and it looks freaking awesome. That's all I have for movie updates.
Okay. We have way too many streaming services. Can I just say that? I mean, it's like I cut the cord, I cut the cable bill, the DirecTV, I cut that off like, I don't know, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. We have the streaming, and we have an actual antenna up on the side of the house. So if my wife wants to watch a Golden Knights game that's not streaming anywhere, that we have to tune into an actual TV station, we can do that. But I think just like. I want to say that the bill is getting close to what the old DirecTV bill was. By the time you have Netflix and Hulu and Peacock and HBO and Disney Plus and Discovery.
See, we did the same thing. Like we cut cable, probably 5-6 years ago. And that was the whole idea, was we were like, we use this and we use the DVR, but we can just jump to Hulu and watch things the day after. So you get Hulu, and then you pay for commercial free because commercials suck. This is coming from the guy who's a professional marketer who buys commercials for a living. And then, you're right, then it's like Netflix and Disney Plus. And then I just canceled Discovery Plus because nobody was watching it. I just canceled something else because nobody was watching it. But then we also have like the PBS streaming one, which I don't know why. We also have like Amazon Prime. And the funny thing is, it's like, it's like back in the day, like half the time I sit down, I'm like, I've got nothing to watch. It's as bad as when you had cable, except for now I don't like scroll through channels for like an hour trying to find something to watch. Although I'm going to tell you guys, this is my latest find. I love it. And that is Roku. If you have a Roku, they have like the Roku streaming channels, and they have a 24-hour-a-day Price is Right, the Bob Barker era.
No.
And it's like 70s and 80s Price is Right. And I have it running in the background. It is amazing. I think everybody should go watch what the Price is Right was like 40 years ago.
I know
so
what it was like.
Hello.
I used to watch that when I was Yeah, when I told my mom I was too sick to go to
That
school.
was prime time when we were kids, man. Come on.
No, hey. I mean, it was prime time when I was a kid too, and that was a funny thing is I got sick at work. A bunch of people I work with tested positive for COVID. I didn't. I think I probably still had it, and I think the test just didn't get. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I was sick in bed for like 2 or 3 days, and I literally just had that running in the background. And my wife was like, "Why are you doing this?" And I was like, "Because it reminds me of being sick when I was a kid and just watching The Price is Right, like laying on the couch." So, but anyway, it is so fun to go back and see like the prices from like the early '80s. It's just it's amazing.
I remember on one of those, it was a I'll never forget this. It was a Corvette. And you had to guess the price, and it was like $10,000. I'm like, wow, you can't get a skateboard for $10,000.
Right, and now
anymore.
I was watching the other day, and they had it's probably like an '85 or '86 Ford Escort, and it was $6,400 was the base price on it. But then the crazy thing is they'll bring out these like massive stereo systems, and they'll be like. They'll be like stereo cassette deck, graphic equalizer and a turntable, and then it's like $1,200. So it's anyway. Hey, and with that, that's a good note because that actually brings us back to the topic, kind of. I mean, I just talked about stereo systems from the 80s. Should we? I mean, we're like 6.5 minutes in. Should we actually talk about something gear related, or should we just keep talking about TV? I'm cool with either one.
No, you know what? Let's go ahead and get started on that stuff. So, when we actually will be having a guest here pretty soon, a special surprise mystery guest.
Is it Bill's wife? Is it Linda?
No, God, no.
I've already seen her once today.
She'll be. You know it was her. You don't have to know what she looks like. All you need because she'd be the one rolling her eyes so hard. Like
I think
maybe
when she
yelling
came
at
in,
Bill.
I think when she came into the house, she didn't recognize me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she looked at me like, I think I know you, but I don't know you, so I'm not going to really talk to you that much.
I think she just wasn't expecting you.
She's like, is that Santa Claus or is that Scott?
There's a guy here in town that I had sing in my country band for a little bit. And we went to play, I played at his club on Sunday night. But I'm looking at him right in the face, and he's looking at me, and it wasn't until later on in the night, and he's like, "Hey, man, it's really good to see you." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you finally recognized me, huh?" He's like, "Well, I thought it was you, but you don't look the same. You didn't have a beard or gray hair or round glasses or anything." He goes, "You look totally different." Like, well, yeah, I get that.
Well, I'm loving the beard, Scott. Keep it going.
My wife said grow it, and she likes it. So, okay.
Because honestly, we don't care as long as everybody else thinks it's okay.
When she says, "Hey, you know what? I hate it," and shave it, then I'll shave it. But
I was going to say you're almost to the point that you could have auditioned to be a replacement in ZZ Top.
dude, you don't even know how many people have told me you should send your stuff in to ZZ Top. Well, but they already got a guy. I mean, that's
who's been like the bass tech and the fill in for like the last like decade.
Yeah, he was Billy Gibbons' tech for forever.
For a long time. Yeah.
Forever. I mean, why are they going to hire some asshole from Vegas?
I actually was looking at tickets. They're playing here in Utah. I'd love to see them live because I never have, but they were like $100 a ticket, and that's pretty steep for like a classic rock act, these days. Anyway,
I saw ZZ Top for $5.
I saw him for free.
There you go. You win.
We went and saw. If anybody has a chance to see it, it's ridiculously expensive. I only went because a friend of ours got freebie tickets and invited us. But the Silk Sonic thing with
no one can afford
Mars,
that.
Oh my! Like we had like these. I think we were sixth row or seventh row on the floor, row H on the floor, however many that is. And Now we have to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Eighth row. And we looked at the tickets, which had been free for all of us, and the face value on it was like $450.
Yeah, good
per
luck
ticket.
for finding $450. Those tickets are like $3,000.
This is what happens when you're Bill and you've interviewed everybody in the music industry and know them all, and they just give you tickets. Gosh, it must be a hard life.
No. This was the woman who sang all the harmony vocals on the single that I have out and most of that record. Her husband, the lawyer, got free tickets and he didn't want to go, and she got 4 freebies, so she brought a friend and invited me and Linda. It was astounding. I mean, it was like...
Yeah, that's an amazing band. Amazing.
Unbelievable band. The guitar player is this Brazilian guy who's got the epic 70s hair, man. I mean, just the flowing down hair and the mustache and the platform shoes and the whole nine, man. And,
that's amazing.
But he played Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka.
That's awesome.
And his solo section, and they gave him probably 6 or 7 minutes.
Well, yeah, everybody was tired. They wanted to go and change their clothes and have a drink.
Towards the end, it was a feature slot, and wow. I was blown away. I mean, it's not that often that a guitar player will blow me away. Speaking of the guitar players...
Are we getting Bill's mystery guest?
I think so. I see another square. It has his name on it, but I'm just seeing dots.
Well, we'll see if he connects. Hopefully his audio connects. We might have to pause and he disappeared. Well, we're waiting for Bill's guest. So I mentioned that Bill's interviewed everybody in the music industry. So kind of a big deal going on in the music industry this coming weekend. Bill, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on?
The thing that I'm so glad I don't have to go to, but Scott's going. So every time anybody asks me if I'm going, I just say, I'm not, but Scott is here.
This is
He's
what
copied on this email.
I never understand that. And here, I'll let you do your intro thing, and then I'll tell you why.
Well, I don't know. The intro thing is the big thing that's going on is NAMM, the National Association of Music Merchants trade show, which we'll talk about all the weirdness of the plague times and what's going on right now. It's usually in January. It's in Anaheim at the Convention Center across the street from Disneyland, and features manufacturers of every kind of musical instrument there is.
And they haven't held it for, 2.5 years now? Is that right?
Yeah, 2 years.
I think that is correct.
All through the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, so they had January 2020, right before the pandemic, and it's been down ever since then. So, Scott, you're going this weekend?
So I'm going, and here's my reasoning why. I only get to go because of Bill. If it wasn't for him, I would never... ever have been able to go. And my entire career since I've lived on the West Coast, since the 80s, I've wanted to go to the NAMM show. Every year I would bug people, hey, NAMM, I want to go to NAMM. Probably 25 years. No. And I would see half-naked girls at NAMM and all the rock stars at NAMM, and I'm like, really? These girls have nothing to do with gear, but they get to go.
Come on, you know how the world works.
I know, but that I'm 20 years old and I want to go to NAMM because I want to go and see all the
half
stuff.
Naked, Scott. Gosh,
yeah, I'd have got arrested. So now, if I get to go, I don't take it for granted because I know there's a zillion people just like me who I know some who want to go, have never had the opportunity to go, and will never, ever be able to go.
Well, and I have to throw it out there real quick. Bill's also the reason I've been to NAMM. I think I've gone with you 3 times. It's been a little while, but we went a couple of times.
It's been a minute, yeah.
And I actually think I mentioned this in one of our earlier things, podcast, video, who knows what it is. But the first time I went, Scott and I got to share a room with bunk beds like we were little kids. It was amazing. But yeah, I was the same way where I wanted to go for years and years and years. And Bill had an extra pass and was like, hey, come on out. So that was, we were doing a lot of live to play stuff. So we went out and saw the new gear coming out and recorded stuff. And it's fun because, every manufacturer you can imagine is going to be there, and they unveil all their new stuff there. And if you're into looking for famous rock stars, you probably won't see them, but you might see some washed up rock stars at booths.
Yeah, I mean, and I went to my first. So yeah, NAMM is for those of you who don't know, and I'm guessing that 90% of anybody who's gonna sit through this much of a bunch of old farts talking about gear and stuff is gonna know what NAMM is, or has maybe already been there. But it's just. It's like the biggest guitar center in the history of the world.
What is it? National Association Music Merchants?
Yeah, it's basically a trade show where manufacturers are. The real purpose of it is that's where they show off their new stuff for music store owners, for people who are going to who are their actual customers. The manufacturers. Their immediate customer is not you and me. Their immediate customer is generally the retailer, unless they're selling direct. So it's a chance for them to talk to their customers and show them what's new, and take a lot of orders. It's like that's really what it comes down to, is people buying gear.
I like to go and see all the gear, but it's now has become like high school reunion. I see so many people that I used to know when I lived in LA, and rock star friends that I've met over the years, and I don't know, it's kind of fun.
It is fun. You do realize the industry is smaller than you'd think it is when you go there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You only go a couple of times, and you start seeing familiar faces really quick.
No doubt. And you're right. I mean, and there's people from all over the world, but you're like, hey, I met you last time. Good to see you. How are you? La 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 la. I don't know.
We always used to joke that nobody ever actually leaves the industry. It's like you go to NAMM, you see all the same faces. They may be in different booths, but it's all the same faces.
I like when you go there and you go to the basement floor, and it's all like the new companies who are just coming into NAMM. All the smaller ones. To me, it's like going into like a five and dime store, downstairs. It's all just sensory overload for me.
Oh, I remember I went down there a couple of years ago, and we met, I don't remember if you were with me or not, Bill, but I talked to the guys who do the Beat Buddy, which is like the guitar pedal that does like the drums and things like that. Mm-hmm. And these guys, like the 2 guys who started it, literally have like this table with a tablecloth and like a homemade sign. And I'm pretty sure they were making them in their garage at that point. But now, it's been 7-8 years later, and you're seeing Beat Buddy show up on the used market. They're all over the place. They have a couple of different variants. So it is kind of fun to see, like you said, Scott, like you'll go down there. I'm trying to remember. There's a couple other boutique like effects brands. I think, Caitlin Bed was down there a couple of years ago. They're up on the main floor. I want to say JHS was down there with their pedals like 10 years ago, but now, JHS is huge, probably from like their YouTube channel. I mean, they make killer stuff too, but a lot of like the effects companies and stuff started down there. And then I know Bill was telling a story about Donner, which is like a Chinese knockoff company, and I'm pretty sure they've been down in the basement floors. We've been there as well. And now they're like the kings of gear on Amazon. So
yeah, right.
I found Dr. Duck. Dr. Duck's Axe Wax?
Yeah.
I found him down on the basement floor.
Yeah.
Not literally on the basement floor, but
well, that's
by Sunday afternoon it could have been on the basement floor, but
oh my.
Now when I see him, there's a story about me and him, John. But now when I see him there, he teases me for 20 minutes, man, about being a fanboy.
Oh, really?
When I used to do a jam night at the Country Saloon in Vegas.
I remember that, yeah.
A friend brought him down one time.
Oh, yeah.
And I had and David Alessandri had turned me on to Dr. Duck's Axe Wax. And I was like, wow, this stuff is great. And all of a sudden, here he is. It's Dr. Duck. I'm like, wow, it's Dr. Duck. John, hey, it's John, it's Dr. Duck. And he never lets me forget it. Teases me all the time. Oh, yeah, what a fanboy. My fan, he's here.
Well, I mean, not to say there has been, because I'm Mr. I'm so over trade shows in general, but I'm not going this year because I have a new weird part-time job as the oldest lifeguard in Clark County, possibly in the state of Nevada.
He's also the only one who wears a Speedo exclusively.
Exactly.
I do not want to see that.
Every time, man.
He doesn't have to save anyone because no one gets in the pool. They just go home. It's a great gig.
Do you have to wear one of those rubber hats?
No. Well, but anyway, so I'm not going to NAMM this year, but Scott is. And even though I'm kind of like, God, I'm over trade shows and everything, I got to admit, that's where you see people, man, who known for a million years, and you be just.
You're coming?
Oh, and
there we go. There we go.
Oh,
yes!
you made it.
Yeah.
Now, is your audio working?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Look at that. Look at my song Remember in the background. Who knew? Okay, can I let you go off the phone, Bill?
Yeah, go ahead and hang up the phone.
We should.
Hi, everybody.
We should say,
Finally.
Yeah,
we should say welcome
Cheers.
back. There's been 20 minutes of technical difficulties. Scott went and got a drink, and then played with the iPhone. Bill, you should tell us.
I came back early to deal with this, man. What a nightmare.
Bill, you should tell us who we were talking to because this is your guest.
Okay, so please welcome.
Okay, I can barely hear Bill.
Oh wait, I have to be right on
There
top
he
of
is.
my mic. I forgot.
There
about
he is.
that.
There you go.
Okay, I got to sit up and actually speak into the microphone. So this is our welcome again to two old guys and a middle-aged guy talk about guitars and gear and stuff.
Oh, we're all old guys.
Yeah, right. So, but
I'm not.
We have a third old guy joining us this week. Woohoo! Mr. Ronnie North. Yeah. So Ronnie, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm very stressed out. I've been packing for the last couple hours for NAMM, and I'm not. I mean, playing it is easy. Just getting ready for it's always an effing nightmare.
Hey, stop, Bill. Before you get into that, we have to ask Ronnie questions. Remember, this is our first guest.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, you're getting way ahead of this. We got to be professional and stuff.
Yeah, right. and stuff. That's the important part.
Okay, well, before we go to NAMM, we did this last week, Ronnie, but the question we have is what are the 5 albums?
Well, I think we
top
only
5
gave him. I think we only gave him 3.
3. Sorry, 3 albums. It's not 5. 3. We don't know. Professional. 3 albums that inspired you to become a musician or a guitarist, or inspired you to join a band.
It was actually just one that got me into music. I mean, no offense to the other two. Kiss Destroyer. I got it for Christmas. I didn't know who Kiss was. I never heard of Kiss. My parents just got it to look like a comic book. I was a professional skateboarder at the time. Changed my life. And then I got that. I got it for Christmas, and then Kiss played in May of that year in '77, the peak of their fame at the Forum. So my dad took us to that, and after seeing it, that was the first concert I went to. Nothing else mattered. Got a guitar a month later and been playing ever since.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's so cool. I saw him that same year, but I saw him at the Anaheim Stadium show, which was
that was the year before. That was the Destroyer tour.
Yeah, so it was on the Destroyer tour.
Yeah,
it was, wow. I was 16 years old. It's that's life-changing stuff, man.
Changed my life.
That is awesome. Kiss Destroyer for Christmas, and then the show later that year. That is some fine parenting on your dad's behalf.
Yeah, right? I mean, I always thought, my parents sucked, and actually they were way cool. Who knew?
Who knew? So,
and then once I started playing, because I was 14, so I started playing, and I started doing clubs by 15, so I'm playing guitars and stuff. My dad would take me, because I couldn't drive, he would take me to my gigs.
That's so
So I
cool.
mean, I would be playing all night. You have to wake up 8 in the morning to go to school and be all smelling like smoke and whatever. And so that's all my club. Because I didn't drive yet, so that's what was that. So cool parents.
So talk to us about the whole NAMM thing. So how did you play there the first time? How did that come about?
One of my friends, I used to work for a Guitar Center like in the early '90s, and one of the companies that we used to sell, like they knew that I played and stuff, and they saw me play like a demo or something, and they were like, "Hey, why don't you just come play at NAMM for us?" I'm like, really? So I had to do some finagling, because at Guitar Center, they want you working on the weekends. They don't want anybody off on the weekends.
Yep.
So I negotiated that. I'm like, I told the boss, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So you could fire me or not, but I'm going to do it. So they didn't fire me.
So what was the first manufacturer that had you play?
It was an amplifier company called, what were they called? I can't remember what they were called. I mean, they were cool amps, so I just played there, and for some reason, I just kept doing it. And I never did it for them again, but then, like, other companies saw. And then I got a bunch of, I think right that time, I think I got a bunch of sponsors. So then after that, I got Duncan and DR Strings. And so then they all started having me play, and then, it just kept going. And now I have, like, 50-something sponsors. So always somebody wants me to do a clinic or a trade show. I mean, I just did the Texas Guitar Show, like, 3 weeks ago for a couple of my other sponsors.
That's really cool.
I was in Dallas. Those people are crazy.
So
Those crazy Dallas people.
So do you think that so you went and you played for this company in NAMM with an amplifier, and then you got a bunch of other endorsements? Did you get endorsements because you were already playing at NAMM, or in other words, did one thing feed the other?
Because I always wanted to get endorsements, and I kind of watched how people did it. So I made like promo packs, like when you had to make promo packs. Now it's all EPKs, or not. At this point, it's not even that anymore.
Yeah, right. It's like, look at my Instagram.
So like, literally, that's what it is now. But I had a professional like 8x10 do my promo shot done. I had like bio and stuff I've done, and I went like Saturday morning again, like right when the show opened up, and by 10:15 I had Seymour Duncan, DR, and somebody else. I got 3 like within the first hour of the show. And then once companies see that you already have sponsors, some big guys, people,
absolutely,
it's a lot easier. Like it's not really that much of a sell.
Right, you got to get those first couple, and then everybody else.
Yeah. It's the hardest ones are the first couple ones. After that, it's not and it just kept going and going and going.
So,
but I also only sponsor stuff that unlike a lot of people that I know, we won't mention names. I only get sponsored by stuff that I'm actually going to use. I don't just get it because they're just giving it to you. Like if I did that, I have like 300 sponsors at this point.
I will admit I have a whole bunch of stuff that I never paid for because people would ship stuff out and never send anything to have it come back. And my rule was if it's at my house for a year, then it's mine. And which I know doesn't hold up in court, but that's what I go with.
I was going to say, I think half of my studio here is review stuff that Bill had sent my way that never got taken back. So,
wow, I wish I would have been in that loop.
Yeah, right. Well,
well, the guy. He's right there.
Yeah,
just ask
right.
Bill
Yeah,
for
right.
Except nobody cares who I am anymore, and I don't get squat.
I care. I care.
I used to be somebody, man. I used to be somebody.
We all used to be somebody.
Yeah, right. and still hoping to be somebody. So,
right.
How many records have you put out now?
That's a good question. I think like 6 or 7. And I have a new one like ready to go, but I just can't. I've done a couple of attempts. I haven't mixed like out of my. I usually like to be there when I mix it, but like out of state, and they're just all failing dismally.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
I can't get anybody to. I need to physically be there. They're telling me they send it back how they think it should be, and then there's how I want it to be. And the thing is, I don't settle for anything but how I want it to be. So that's why I stopped. That's why I built the studio in the first place. Started producing and engineering myself. I got tired of arguing with all these famous producer guys. I don't care if you did Metallica. It sounds like shit. You know, unlike Kirk Hammett, I can play guitar. So.
Ouch.
Oh, there's a song. There's one of my songs. So it's just I have to figure out how to get it mixed the right way out here. So we're still figuring that one out. So the new one.
I was just going to say I've made comments similar to what Ronnie just said about Kirk Hammett, except for the difference is Ronnie actually plays better, and I'm not even in the same league as Kirk Hammett, so I probably shouldn't make those comments. But I'm happy you feel that way.
No, I mean, it's so clinkety. Like, I don't understand. But I mean, the guy sold 200 million records, so who am I to say anything?
And
God bless, and he's a nice guy. Like, I've met him. Nice guy. Cool guy. But I just think he's a horrible, I won't talk shit about it. Just, it could be better. Let's just say that.
So
I'll just stop there.
So talk to us.
This is my favorite moment ever right now.
Yeah, right.
This is gonna be a Kiss thing all over again. My friend is the drummer in Kiss now. We won't mention names, but I said I made a thing I did a thing in the press one time how Kiss isn't Kiss and this is the original four guys and we won't even.
Yeah,
that just went way back.
Yeah, right. That
that's how I feel still.
Yeah, but that came back and bit you, right?
Beyond, it's still biting me years later.
Ow, ouch. So talk to us about that awesome signature guitar you played. You
know what? I actually have one of them here. Look, there's one. There's one of them. This is actually the first one. This is an RN. This is an RN2. So this is on an alder body, flame maple top. I designed it 100% completely. It's got a cool stone tone block, so it's actually made out of stone. You can't see, can't really see it in the picture. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, they're American made here in California. Cool headstock.
Who's made? Oh, is it Dean? Is that who's making that for you?
No, Viper. This is actually
Viper.
Dean
Okay,
actually ripped their headstocks out. This is actually like a copy of a Gibson Modern. A Modern. Remember those the early Explorers and stuff. They had the. So, I mean, that's what kind of deep. So, I mean, that's pretty much a clone of their thing.
Yeah,
so
the video.
Like that.
And so the video was a little blurry, so I couldn't read it, but that's awesome. The video will be better when it's finally uploaded, but that's awesome.
And it even has this cool little metal thing on the back where you can beat somebody up with. Kind of helps to sustain a little bit. Anybody gets a little rowdy on stage, I'm going to be good.
What kind of pickups do you have in that?
2 Seymour Duncans. One's this is a 59, and this is a custom. But my other one has MJ made me a Ronnie North. It looks just like a Ronnie North pickup, like it's a prototype Ronnie North, whatever they call it, the Ronnie North pickup. So, which is cool. We kind of tweaked, a custom and kind of made it more to my liking. So, thank God MJ likes me.
That's always.
And Seymour likes me, so it's always a plus.
Always helpful.
Yeah, right.
Ronnie just casually talks about how Seymour Duncan will make pickups to his specs. I mean, how many of us can do that?
That would be 0.
That's so cool.
You guys should go to the factory. I can arrange. You guys ever want to go to the factory, man? That place is a whole other.
Yeah,
just to see how it's done. Everybody's so cool, and it's like literally like 200 feet from the beach. Like you walk right out the back door, you go right under the sand.
Wow,
Santa Barbara.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's actually beyond.
Cool.
I love Santa Barbara. I used to play at a little club up there. Oh God, a billion years ago, like in the mid to late 80s. There was this little place.
It's an interesting town because it's like a college town.
Oh, it's a total college town. This place is called. When we started playing, there was called Cancun Cantina. It was a Mexican restaurant on State Street, and it was owned by the same folks who owned Something's Fishy in the San Fernando Valley, and we used to play there. And then they shipped us up to Santa Barbara, and we played there, and we did it for a while. And we were getting, a set amount. We're getting a percentage of the door. And then they went, you guys are coming here and you're playing Halloween, and we think that we ought to give you a guarantee from now on. We're going to give you a set price. And we're like, yes, something we can count on. And then we got there, and I don't know if you've ever been to Santa Barbara or Isla Vista on Halloween with all those college kids. we couldn't go from the stage to the bar during a break. You couldn't. There were 400 kids plus in this little
Everybody
tiny
just
place.
bar hopping on State Street.
Yep, and we were like, man, if we had stayed at the percentage of the door, we would have made 3 times what we just did tonight.
See, the club owner knew that. That's why he gave you the guarantee. Club owners, by definition, are scum.
Yeah. Okay.
Before that, they were used car salesmen, and before that, they were probably managers or agents.
So that's a great. Here's a great joke. So it's guitar.
We're getting
so we're gonna do this joke.
There we go.
Okay, it's a guitar player joke. So this guitar player dies, goes to heaven. St. Peter welcomes him. And he said, "Hey, look, you're gonna really love this place. Here, let me give you a tour." And he walks in this room, and it's just like every classic guitar he's ever lusted after is there. And he's like, "You can take anything you want." And the guy's like, really like, "Well, I don't know." And he's like, "No, don't worry about it. If you take something, another one just appears in its place. So you're not going to take something that somebody else can't have it." And so he spends hours in here just, playing guitars and deciding what he wants, and then he goes into another room and it's amplifiers, and it's room after room and all the gear that he ever wanted.
That does sound like heaven.
Yeah, right. It's like I said, guitar player heaven. And the guy's been at it for a few hours, and he goes, "Hey, you know what? This is awesome, St. Peter, but I really, really got to take a leak." He goes, "No problem, no problem." All the way at the end of the hall, there's a door at the end of the hall. And so he walks down there, and he's like, he doesn't see anything like, urinals or anything. And so, but there's this line of guys, and they're all peeing out the window. Giant window. And he walks up there, and he looks at these guys, and he goes, "Just what we're supposed to do?" And yeah. And so he gets up there, and he looks down. There's people. And he's like, "Oh, dude, what are we doing? There's people down there." And the guy goes, "Oh, no, man. Those are club owners and agents and managers."
Exactly. That's karma.
That's when you know you're in heaven, right?
That is heaven for guitar players.
And with Bill's joke, so back to NAMM. What NAMM questions do we have?
Yeah, we're kind of swerving around, aren't we?
A little bit. Yeah.
I got a bigger laugh out of Scott than Bill's joke.
Oh man!
So, who are you playing for this year?
I am playing for the guitar company for Viper, and I'm playing for my friends. They make cables and stuff like that. Like my friend from Texas, actually, for the Texas show. So they haven't done a California NAMM in a while, so they're doing it. And they just asked me if I'd like to play. So I think they're called Soundcore.
Cool.
So they make like high-end cables and like pro audio stuff.
I'll have to find out when you're going to be at the spot, so I'll come over and we'll hang out.
Yeah. Go to my. There's a thing. There's on my Facebook page, all my media. Like, there's a poster of every booth numbers and blah blah blah.
Right on.
All that fun stuff. I've seen you play at NAMM before, and I love watching Ronnie because Ronnie understands, and it's totally interesting to me that A, you were a skateboarder, and B, it was a Kiss record that got you into all this. Because
look at I'm representing. I'm wearing Ace.
Yeah, right. There you go.
That's awesome.
Because this is a guy who understands showmanship, man.
You got. I grew up with Kiss. Like, where do you go? You know what I mean? I hate people. I like these new bands. Like, we go to. My girlfriend Karen likes all these new metal bands, which are horrible. Like, all of them just suck. But they got jeans, t-shirts, and short hair, and they just stand there. Just play horrible music and scream. Like, I don't understand. Like, I need production. Like Kiss. Even Van Halen had production.
Oh yeah, great.
I call it show business,
right? Yeah, I want to see a show when you go.
Yeah.
If they're just gonna stand there, you could just buy the record and stare at a poster.
Exactly.
Why go
Stay home and watch somebody doing that?
Yeah. So I like to make it something visually appealing. Something to see. So. And NAMM, you got to sell it, so you got to dive all the way in. So,
well, I remember watching
better or worse.
Yeah, I remember watching you play in a booth one time, and it's like all I could think was like, I can't even get down into that position that he's in right now. He's like, he's got this like, Whoa! I can't even. I am not that flexible.
Sometimes it gets a little much. Like 2 years ago, I snapped the headstock off.
Whoa!
Like I jammed in the ground. I'm like, why is that dangling? Oh, that's the headstock.
When you have signature instruments, you can do things like that.
Right?
Guys, I need another one.
3 days later, it was fixed, but and it sounds better. So
Yeah,
actually, I think it was this one. Actually, I think
Did they just glue the headstock back on for you?
They did. And it stayed in tune because it has a locking nut. It broke behind the nut, so I was able to keep playing.
That's incredible.
It's amazing.
Right?
That locking nut, so he kept playing. That's so cool.
I just kept going. Stayed in tune.
So are you using is it a Floyd Rose that's on there, or do you have a different
Yeah, it's a Floyd Rose.
tremolo?
Yeah.
So you should be endorsed by Floyd Rose after that story.
It's the German Floyd Rose.
So you should be after that story. You broke the headstock and it still stayed in tune. That's incredible.
They're bulletproof.
Yeah. Now, see, if this is the old magazine days, that would be a full-page magazine ad.
Right?
Standing there with the headstock dangling off, and going, it's still in tune.
There's actually somebody
Floyd
shot.
Rose is for
It was on the
you.
Hilton NAMM stage, and there's actually like somebody shot video. I saw video of it once on somewhere. Like there's people you can see me playing the headstock just dangling. Like
that's crazy. That's
wacky. But I kept playing the song and I just switched guitars, but it was fine. Like I could have did the rest of the night with it.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about NAMM, Ronnie just brought up the Hilton. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Texas has a Hilton called the Renaissance. It's in the parking lot of the convention center where they have the Texas show. It's the same exact thing, just a different state. Same deal, man. All the show people. Drinking way too much and acting completely stupid because they're away from their wives.
If you've never been there, it's like, how do you even describe the Hilton bar during NAMM? I mean,
I've never been.
You've never gone?
Oh, it's a whole other. It's like Las Vegas times 100.
See, that's what I was saying before,
With
about the whole
band.
NAMM thing is that
It's a
when you don't
whole
get to
other-
go and you hear all these stories, you're like, oh wow, what about this? What about that?
Oh,
And
it's-
so for me, like I think I've been 4 times maybe, but have wanted to go since the 80s.
yeah.
That's why I never take it for granted. If I am allowed to go, if I get to go, I go.
Well, I was just going to say, I never saw that either because don't drink. I get to be everybody's sober buddy. So if you need a sober buddy at NAMM, I'm a great designated driver. I'll probably be drinking a Diet Mountain Dew. That's about as hard as it gets.
Well, see, that's why I stayed. I'm there the whole week in a hotel right there because I don't have to drive. I mean, I don't really drink that much anyway, but just in case, like I can walk, a block and I'm at my hotel room. Like literally,
Perfect.
less than 1,000 feet from the Hilton bar is my hotel room. So I'm good. But yeah, I mean, people just get drunk. It's their last weekend. They just get drunk.
It's insane. And by the time you hit Sunday morning, walking around the show, first off, half the booths are half empty because people who are supposed to be working in the booth are so hungover that they're still trying.
You're exactly right.
And you'll talk to people, and it's just like they've got that look. They're looking at you. You think maybe
you gotta,
they're
if
hearing
you're
you.
doing that, you got to pace yourself, man. But I've never been that kind of drinker. So. See, the thing that saves me is I can't. If I drink, I can't play. Like I just physically. I wish I could be a cool rock star. That's why I don't do drugs. Like I can't. I have to be 100% concentrating on it, or else it just goes. I'm Kirk Hammett if I drink.
Oh.
No offense, Kirk.
Okay, so a couple of questions, I guess. So the whole purpose of this, when we got into this, and maybe Bill hit this when I had to go unlock the door, and then I had to go talk to the potty training toddler. That's why I disappeared for a few minutes. Welcome to my life, guys. Potty training. That was another topic we could talk about. Just kidding.
Yeah,
so what we wanted to talk about was like why go to NAMM, like what to know about going to NAMM. Obviously, apparently there's a great bar at the Hilton. Some of us never been there. But I guess if people are going for their first time or whatever, what should they know? What should they expect?
It is a circus. It just think. I mean, it's sort of like the Comic Con for music. If you go to Comic Con, if anybody's a Comic Con guy, like I know what I on a related, not to get off topic. I was at Star Wars NAMM this weekend, and in the same place at the convention center.
That's
I was
so
there.
cool.
Yeah, it's called Star Wars Con. It was fucking insane. It's totally cool, but not to get off topic, just because it's same.
Did you get to play guitar at that one?
I did not, but I played guitar at Comic Con a few times. I played it. That's
Very
all.
cool.
Nothing like playing and you see like Chewbacca watching you, you know, Jason. Watching Chewbacca eat a hamburger was pretty interesting too. In costume.
Wow.
That's a whole other level of cosplay that I will never. God bless him. That's just a whole other thing, man. Getting stuff in the fur and the I don't know. Yeah.
So who?
Wow.
Oh, go ahead, Bill.
Who's the coolest person you ever met at NAMM?
Ooh, let's see. Here's a nice story. Lots of people, but I mean, one time my friend used to be a big guy at Gibson, and we were walking in between my demos, me and my girlfriend Karen, and he texts me, he's like, "You like Kiss, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Come up to the Gibson booth right now." I'm like, "Okay, cool, whatever." You know, he didn't say what it was. Like, just come up. I thought maybe he had like a Kiss guitar up there or something. So we get up there and he's like, "You see that door? There's a door and there's like a guy standing by the door." He's like, "Go in that room. Like, they'll let you in." Like, I told him that you're coming. I go in there. It's Ace Frehley sitting on the couch and his bodyguard. Like, nobody else in the room. Like, he was gonna be doing a signing like in an hour. They had him put away in a green room. So I'm standing next to him on the couch, like a couch like this. He's talking to me for 15 minutes. I couldn't tell you one word that he said. Like, he was so like on something. I don't know what he was on. It'd be like, "Wah, wah, wah," that laugh. And then I'm like, "What the fuck, man?" Like 15 minutes, and he was like literally sitting less than a foot from me on the couch. I couldn't tell you one thing that he said the other time. The entire time while I was sitting there.
That's hilarious.
And then like after that, like 20 minutes, like it was about 20 minutes, and then he came and got him to take him downstairs to go do the signing at the Gibson booth or whatever. Like they walked him down. But I had like a private audience with him for like 25 minutes, and I couldn't tell you one thing. I mean, he said, "Hey," well, he introduced me to him, and then that was it. That's the only thing I understood the entire time. He was cracking himself up, like he had a whole conversation going with himself while I'm standing looking at me like talking to himself. I was like, "Wow."
That's
I make it a point to meet as many as I can.
Like leaning against the wall, just kind of like looking at us, making sure he's okay. Like couldn't care less.
My coolest.
Ace Frehley's the coolest guy.
Right. My coolest one wasn't actually on the show floor. It was at a dinner. Right. You know, there used to be a NAMM in Nashville too, and I don't know.
Yeah, I do that one too. I just did it.
Oh,
yeah.
You just did. So they're right on top of each
2021.
other?
I mean, the last NAMM was in Nashville. I just did it a few months ago.
So somebody set up this dinner and asked me to come, and I was like, I don't want to go because I'm just that kind of antisocial guy. And they went, well, Les Paul's going to be there. I was like,
ooh.
Okay, well, I'll go. I figure I'm going to hear Les play, and I heard him play before. I used to be in New York a lot, and I went to Iridium, down there where he used to play on I think Tuesday nights, and I saw him a couple of times.
Fat Tuesdays.
What was that?
It was Fat Tuesdays, but then it was the Indurium towards the end.
Yes.
The Indurium, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. So I saw him there, but so we're sitting at this dinner, and Les comes in. There's no stage. He doesn't have a guitar. But he sat down right directly across from me and told stories for 3 hours. I mean,
whoa.
Like, here's how I created multi-track recording.
Yeah, he did. He created,
So,
he created what? The Echoplex, multi-track recording, sound on sound.
So maybe that's why I'm over NAMM. I know I'm never going to have anything that cool ever again. So it's just never going to happen.
I'm jealous. I was going to say, if you can see in the camera, that red book I'm pointing to right there is the birth of Loud, which is the story of Leo Fender and Les Paul. I just finished reading it, so I'm jealous, Bill. It's super cool. Scott, you said you try to meet everyone. Do you have any good stories? People you met?
Well, I got another fanboy story. The first year I went to NAMM, a friend of mine, a guitar player friend, got me in. And I was running around looking at, oh my God, there's Paul Stanley. Oh, there's Michael Schenker. Oh my God, oh my God. And he had to pull me aside. He said, look, you can't run around here like that. He goes, you have to treat these people like they're your equal, or they're going to look at you like you're just some crazy fan, and no one is going to take you serious. So I'm walking around the NAMM show. Hey. Let's have it in. Nice. Yeah. I get to this one booth, and there's Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick.
There you go.
And I lose my shit.
They're nice guys.
Hey,
they're nice. They're really nice
There's
guys.
Tom Peterson. There's Tom Peterson. Hey, there's Tom Peterson. Hey, Tom Peterson. Hey, Tom Peterson. And he's such a nice dude. He's like, so, do you want to take a picture? I'm like, yeah, I want to take a picture. I'm going to take a picture with Tom. I got my arm around. Hey, it's Tom Peterson. It's Tom Peterson. He's like, it's nice to meet you. Have a nice day.
That's funny.
Oh, man.
So, I say I don't have stories as cool as you guys, but my very first day at NAMM, very first time I went, I actually was walking by EMG, and Geezer Butler was there, and I was like, okay, that's freaking cool. So I was pretty excited about that, right? And right as this happened, my phone buzzed. I looked down; it was my wife, and so she was asking what I was doing. And I think I was trying to find Bill, so I started texting my wife. And as I'm looking down, texting my wife, some guy just shoves me, and I almost fall over. And I was like, "Dude!" And I look up, and I was walking and almost ran right into Steven Tyler. It was Steven Tyler's security guard who pushed me down. So that was my favorite part of NAMM that year is I got pushed over by Steven Tyler and the security guard and ran into a table. Steven Tyler looked like old grandma, but anyway, that was kind of interesting. But the person that I have been the most impressed with, like, was kind of just like blown away that I met with is actually the second or third time I went with Bill for Live to Play is I interviewed Andy Powers from Taylor Guitars. And Bill knows what a Taylor fanboy I am. To the point that I've named one of my children after Taylor Guitars. Like, that's how much I love Taylor. And this was back before Andy was the third partner. This was back when he was the head of the shop. And he sat down with me when I was, he didn't know who I was. He just knew I was some press guy. And we sat down and talked for like a half an hour. And it was one of the coolest conversations I've ever had about guitar, as he was talking about like all the things they've done and their innovations and how they pick wood. It was just mind-blowing, fascinating, and then sure enough, a couple of years later, like at the time, like a lot of people didn't know who he was, but probably 2-3 years later, they announced that he is now the third partner and basically the future CEO when Bob steps down. Anyway, Andy Powers, so cool to talk to. That would be my favorite person I've met there.
Have you ever been to the factory?
I have. Yeah, my parents used to live in San Diego, so I've been there. My
friend used to work there. I got a factory tour once. It was awesome, man. Just how they do the whole thing, man.
Yeah,
so cool. It is one of the coolest tours. I've been on a couple factory tours, and that one was the coolest by far.
Well, see, that's the thing. We talk about NAMM, and it's cool, and you get to walk around and look at a bunch of gear and everything. But if I have my choice between going to NAMM and having the noise assault, oh my God, it's never ending. It's like it gets over, and I don't want to go to see any bands or anything else. I just want to like be someplace quiet.
I embrace it all.
The drum hall?
I soak it in.
So the drum hall will damage your hearing just by being
forever. I spend the most time in the drum room. Oh my God. I have this unusual obsession with the drums.
It's like if you want to know, it's like to have a migraine, just walk through the drum hall. I mean,
oh man. I love going in there.
But if I have a choice between NAMM show and the factory tour, I'm going to take that factory tour every time, man. Have you ever been to the Gibson shop in Nashville?
I went to Memphis, and when we were on their tour, my wife took me there for my birthday several years ago, and they literally announced they're filing for bankruptcy while we were on the tour.
Whoa.
And they anyway, the employees suddenly, like, everybody was looking at their phone, and suddenly the tour got kind of broken up, and I think they were all nervous. They should have been, because they closed the Memphis factory probably 3 months after that. But it was the interesting thing is, I mean, Taylor on their tour is using all kinds of technology and innovation and everything to improve their instruments, and like they'll let you take photos of everything. They don't even care. And then you go to Gibson, where I was impressed with how like hand built things are. But, they're sitting there like sanding things by hand, and they're like, no photos, no photos. And it's like, come on, guys, you've been doing this since like the 50s. Like, this is not a secret of how you build these things. But anyway.
Well, I remember seeing it was the top guide for an L5, to carve the arch top. And I swear to God, I mean, they've been using the same one since like the 1940s, and it's like held together with like masking tape. At this point in time, but
that's crazy.
It's crazy, but it's like modern CNC machines. No, we just have this guide that we used to hand carve the things with.
Well,
that's how they used to make them. That's why they're like they are.
Well, and the interesting thing is, this was kind of like one of the things, and I've been on a couple of their tours, but I'll compare these two because they're like the most drastically different. Is Taylor, they talk about how everything's cut to precision, how they're using, laser cutting and all of this stuff. And so they were like, look, whether you get like a 300 series or an 800 series, it's going to sound about the same. It's going to play about the same. It really just comes down to how much workmanship has to go into making it pretty after we cut everything out. But other than that, then you go to Gibson and they're like, yeah, the reason why things are expensive is because it's all hand built and everyone's going to feel different. So you got to play a bunch of them to find the one that's going to be right for you as a player. But when you get it, that this is like legit, like a hand built guitar. And I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. Like, I think there's probably some quality control issues with Gibson because of that as well over the years. But is, but there's a lot to be said where like every instrument you get there has had multiple like people work on it, do things by hand. So it's interesting how they have completely different approaches. But
and that's a really interesting thought. Is when you find the right one. I've had the three right other direction right there, the 335 back there. I've had that since I was 17 years old. I bought that in 1977, maybe 76. It's a 68. It's worth ungodly amounts of money at this point in time, but I'll never sell it. It doesn't have the original pickups. I took off the trapeze and put on a stop tailpiece, and and because I was an idiot and 17 years old, I actually drilled two holes in the top to put in tap switches. But the guy who built the guitar, that one right there, Neil Smith, the Vegas Guitars, he fixed that. He actually plugged up. I used to leave the holes in there and tell people those are my reminders not to be an idiot.
Well, hey, we are running up on an hour, which I think is about our time. Once we edit out like the 30 minutes of technical difficulties.
Yeah, right.
So maybe we should start wrapping up. We got some final questions, final comments, final thoughts on NAMM.
Well,
where do you want to go with that?
Let's do this. So if you're the 18 to 20-year-old guy who's trying to get started making music and you think that that's what you want to do for a living, anything, why should you go to NAMM? Why should you not go to NAMM? What are you going to get out of it? What are you not going to get out of it?
I mean, for me, do you want me to
go
answer?
ahead.
Okay, hang on. Let me just. My computer's going low. I'm just gonna plug it into the wall. Hang on 2 seconds. Other than that, I'm ready to go. Here, hang on. Okay. Okay, yeah. I mean, if they want to go to NAMM, if they want to be like a professional or semi-professional musician, I mean, that's what you need to hobnob with all the industry people, and they're all in one. There's one time a year where they're all in one place. You got your rock stars, you got your manufacturers, press.
If you're 18 to whatever, you want to be a rock star, and you want to go to NAMM,
or just a musician, not even a rock star.
How do you get to go to NAMM?
That's the thing. Well, now, I mean, this year the passes to the public.
Yeah.
Anybody can go this year if you want to.
I think that's because they're afraid people aren't going to show up, to be honest with you. The NAMM is not supposed to be in June. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Exactly.
Well, and I think...
Well, even nowadays, you can buy them on Craigslist.
Wow.
I know a few friends this year that bought passes on Craigslist.
See, in the 80s... who knew about those things. I begged to go.
It was way more closed in the 80s, but it was way easier to sneak your way in, too.
Now it seems like it's a lot easier to go than when we were younger and trying to cut our teeth and you know.
Well, and I think one thing with the value of going to NAMM, if you're in that age group and you want to be a musician professionally, there's a big difference between being like the best guitarist in your high school or in the best band at your college and going to NAMM and seeing someone like Ronnie, for example, and seeing the amount of talent that's there. And I think that's one of the things that people need to understand. If this is the path you want to go down, you want to be a studio musician or whatever, you need to see people that are doing it and realize the caliber of people you're playing against. Yeah. Oh,
it's the wake-up call.
Exactly.
This is the NFL, man. It really is. The big leagues.
I go and there's like some little Japanese girl like doing eruption note for note perfect. I'm like, oh my god. Like literally, like it's scary the stuff that you see at these shows. Like where do these people come from? I mean, God bless them. But the thing is too, on that note, it's more than just playing. Like it's a whole. You had to have the whole package. That's what people don't get. You can practice in your room till your face is blue and have everything down note for note. But if you're not getting out there, you don't know how to market yourself. What good is it doing anything? Unless you're good with just playing in your bedroom.
See, that's what people need to understand. A lot of people don't know how. They don't know that there's a method to getting into the NAMM show. There's a method to being in there and what to do when you're in there. We should have like a how-to for NAMM. Marketing, man, marketing.
Okay, and with that, I think that I think that we ended on exactly the right note. It's about networking. It's about going out there and taking care of business. If you can get in, it's all about the schmooze. Everything's about the schmooze.
Yeah, man.
You guys have fun at NAMM, and Bill will be doing his job, and I'll be doing mine at home, and we'll be sad we aren't there. Maybe Bill won't be. I will be.
Actually, it's like, man, there's people I haven't seen in 3 years. Oh, well, there you go. Okay.
Next NAMM, Bill. We'll be there next time.
Guys, have a good one.
See ya.
Bye, boys.
We'll see ya.